This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today is Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well and extremely busy.
Well, it's good to be busy. Definitely good to be busy. So let's catch up on some of the developments at the company, starting with an announcement you made last week on the Lithium project, Lithium in Zimbabwe. What can you tell us about this?
Zimbabwe is the best destination in Africa for lithium. It's got good grade. It's always been a big producer. We've got some licenses. We're getting more. We brought in 100,000 as for 10% of the company. Although we've only just started it, that's in a private investment. We're going to develop that company as quickly as we can, and it's got enough money to do the next stage or two. So lithium, still very exciting, good area that we've got into. It's a good addition to us and something we understand and in our area.
Okay, good to hear. Now, a few weeks ago, the company put up their half-yearly report with lots of information in there about the project and what has been developing. So let's just take some of the projects and go through and get, in your own words, the latest update and what's to come. So starting with Australia first, what's going on there? You are proceeding with the listing, and there's been some exploration drilling as well. You've had the licenses granted?
Yes, we are moving towards getting into to listed status. And the question of which market that was going to be, our opinions about that have changed over time, but we have an exceptional team out there. And if we were, say, to look at the Australian market, they would place a very high value on the team itself, which I think in some other markets wouldn't be the case. And they would recognize that this is a company now run by the people we recruited and that then built up a team in Australia. We're very proud of that because we've got exceptional licenses, a big land holding position, exceptional management, and this can be a really good listing. So that the next stage is now going to take place. They've been long delayed, partly because of delays in granting some key licenses, which in turn was a result of lockdowns, which were particularly severe in Victoria, where we have our license, had our applications. But things are moving ahead very quickly now.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's very good to hear. So let's look at the Congo then, and what's been going on in the Congo.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes tell people if you look back 3 or 4 years, you could make a reasonable argument that we were a candidate for privatization because our value might be on advanced assets that could be sold easily. It might be 10 times the share price. Now, that key asset in Congo that we had, where there was an obvious customer, that asset has sadly ended up in the hands of that customer as a result of a series of developments that are highly unsatisfactory. So we have been suing this year in the Congo, various parties, had cash awards for 2.5 million, 2 million damages already. We believe we're also entitled to 50.1% of $15 million that was due to be paid under that contract. And then since it was flipped, the other side of that flipping was, we believe, all part of the same chain of transactions, and we should have a part of that. And the difference there is between, say, $20 million and, say, $250 million. So we are going to be pursuing this for quite some time to come. And what we didn't get by having the asset and developing it and perhaps selling it, we're going to get, we think, through litigation and arbitration.
Well, moving on to Kenya then, and you did renounce some results of the first batch of sample drilling at the Mike Gold project, where you said encouraging indications of gold formations in the license area, but yet further drilling is required. So at what point, Andrew, do you look to advance this further by either a joint venture partner?
Yeah, no, we should do that. I mean, we got this license back through litigation and arbitration. Litigation and settlement, just a year and a half or so ago, and we have had we've reassembled the team, and we've had a first drill program. It wasn't a big drill program, but then we were not a company with a lot of money at the time, and we just wanted to restart exploration, get our bearings again, familiarize a new team with what was there and what the potential was. The next stage of drilling should be larger and deeper, and of course, much more expensive. And when we look at that and we look at the potential size of this project, we don't want to take forever. The only way to do it quickly and to build that resource is to involve a major partner. So we have to go out now and see who is interested in working with us. And that's what we're starting to do.
And what is that process like, Andrew? You've probably been through similar processes before, looking for partners.
Yeah, we have. We did it before. We did it with our, we invested in an old, rich underground gold mine in Colombia, brought it back into production. And after a while, when the gold price came off, we thought, well, to make this absolutely safe in what is, after all, an earthquake zone, we'd want to put in a new shaft, maybe a decline. And we'd also want to put in a new ball mill. We look at the costs of that. We look at the state of the market. We don't think we can easily finance this. So we'll sell the asset in exchange for a cocktail of payments now, promissory notes, payable later, and royalties. And we did that. And we got all the other payments. We're still getting a bit of the royalties. But just the same process that we went through to find the right buyer for that, we can do to find the right partner in Kenya. It's not difficult. I mean, I come from an investment banking background, so I know a little bit about how to do these things. And my colleague and myself have done it before.
Okay, and this would then potentially unlock the potential at the project then to take it to actually getting mining.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as we have, as one of our non-exec directors, the chairman of Greatland Gold that I used to be chairman of. And of course, Greatland got a major involved in developing their exploration assets in Australia. But getting something like that done takes time and isn't easy. Can't be done overnight, particularly if you're going to be choosy about who you're working with. And so all we can say is we started the process. We think it's important to do that because you have to recognize your capabilities. And given the grade, the size, the potential, all the parameters, it's right for us to look for a partner.
Okay. And I know it's difficult to put a timeline on this, but do you have an idea in mind of when you would like to have a partner lined up?
Yeah, well, the presidential elections in Kenya are in the early autumn. And therefore, between now and then, not a lot is going to be happening on the exploration front and so on. But by the time that election is over and new ministers are in place, we would hope that that will be the time we'll be reaching the last stages of this. Because after all, any buyer is going to want to go and touch base with the authorities and check things out with them. And there won't be any decision makers in place until a month or so after the election.
Okay. And looking finally at Elephant Oil Corporation, what's the latest with that, Andrew? It could be a near-term catalyst for you.
Yeah, I mean, when we invested in that, everyone said we'd made a mistake and couldn't understand why we did it. But it's now getting listed on the American market, and touch wood, because you can't say something's listed until the day it is listed, but that seems to be very near. And that's, looks like it's going to be worth a lot of money to us. So that's quite pleasing because that's a crystallization of value and it is a liquidity event. The other possible liquidity events, of course, or crystallizations of value, I should say, come from listing the Australian asset, and which is the plan, and our wholly owned subsidiaries in West Africa, in Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso. They will be going to a junior market very quickly because we've got terrific assets there, but we're in countries where other English companies aren't active. So we have to educate people about what's there and show them by doing the quality of what we've got there, which we think is terrific. And the best way to do that is to, it's like the dance of the seven veils. You go onto a junior market, you taking some of the veils off and making your progress visible. So we think that's the way to go. And again, just as with our Zimbabwe asset, we raised a bit of money and people can see the company is already at this early stage worth $1 million. So when we raise a little bit of money to come into the West African things, people will say, oh goodness, so they also have this and they also have this, which are valued at X and Y and have growth potential. So as part of showing the market what it is we have, and also making sure that as we develop these things, the burden doesn't all come back onto regular shareholders, we are going to follow a progressive policy of listing some of these things. And also we want to see these West African assets run by West African management with the necessary inputs by us to help them in terms of public listing tasks and responsibilities, but where the driver is the skills of the people who know that country and that commodity well.
Okay. Well, Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's going to be an interesting year.
Good. Look forward to it.
Thanks. Bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.